Hello everybody, it's been a minute, but I thought of, this is actually a theory I've had for a little while, but I finally decided to put it into video format. So, Grimm have always been kind of weird. They've always been kind of weird. Just these demonic entities of hate that turn to dust when you kill them, somehow. But it's even weirder when you consider that there is a weird connection between humans and Grimm. In particular, we know that Grimm only ever attack humans. They don't attack other animals. This was established, I believe, Volume 1. I believe Salem talking about is either established in Volume 1 at the very beginning, or it was established in the World of Remnant episode talking about Grimm. One or the other. I'm leaning towards the second one, actually, upon thinking about it. But she, of course, does talk about Grimm in the first episode. Anyway. There's that connection. It's also furthered in the fairy tale, The Judgment of the Faunus, where humans criticize animals for not helping fight the Grimm, and the animals are like, that ain't our fight. That ain't our fight. Grimm have never bothered us, that ain't our fight. But anyway, part of what I think is a weird connection between the two is the fact that humans can be Grimmified. Kind of. And it's a heavy emphasis on the kind of. Because we've only seen 3 instances of it. It's only ever happened 3 times. Salem is the most obvious one. Because that, we know, is legitimately, aside from her appearance, that's also part of her origin story. Is after she was given the immortality curse by the gods, she attempted to jump into the god of darkness's pool of death, since the god of light's pool of life gave her immortality. Logic was, the other would take it away. Okay. Fairly sound logic. Doesn't work. It makes her... She's still immortal, but now she wants everything to die. Anyway. The other example is Cinder, because her arm. Her arm is a Grimm prosthetic, weirdly enough. To replace the one that she apparently lost when RWBY used the silver eyes. That's a very... That's a topic for another day. That's a topic for a whole other day. I don't want to get into that one right now. Topic for another day. So... But yeah, she's one of them that has been Grimmified. And since we've seen her Grimm arm to begin with, it's kind of been growing more and more, taking over more of her human self. Because to begin with, it's kind of just like halfway up her upper arm. But since then, it's kind of gone up to her shoulder by this point in Volume 8. So that's a little interesting. I was gonna say concerning, but I don't care about Cinder. So it's not concerning to me in the slightest. But it is interesting. If there's one thing I will give Cinder is that she is an interesting character, even though she's one of my least favorite. I can admit whenever something's interesting, even if I don't like it. I don't do it often, but I can. Anyway. And then the most recent example of this is the Hound. The Hound is like kind of a Venom symbiote-esque Grimm casing around a silver-eyed fox faunus. So, RWBY, once she sees the fox faunus on the inside of the thing, immediately comes to the conclusion that that's what was happening to Summer. That's why Salem shifted MOs from killing Silver Eyes to keeping them and doing these kind of like Dr. Merlot experiments on them. Which is interesting that it's only just recently that she's come to the conclusion that she can do that. According to Oz, she's been alive longer than someone can comprehend. So why take that long to decide, oh, I can make Grimm out of people? You've taken a while on that one, Salem, but anyway. The fact that it has silver eyes is important. Cinder being a maiden is important, and Salem being from the original world is important. All of those are important aspects to my idea here. And there's really nothing going against this theory currently. So I feel kind of right about it, but I don't know. Any of my theories could prove to just be entirely wrong. And really the only time I'm kind of iffy about it is the Watts death and Neo. Those are the only two times I'm kind of iffy. But anyway. This theory is that the only way that there can be that grimmification of someone is if they have silver eyes. No, that's not right. The only way that there can be a grimmification is if they have magic, is what I meant to say. Which is mostly silver-eyed people. Mostly silver-eyed people. However, you do have your exceptions. You have Salem, who came from the original world where there's magic. You have Ozpin, who comes from the original world and has magic and can always access that magic in any of his incarnations. He potentially could be grimmified in the same vein that Salem was. Especially because he's also immortal. You have Cinder, who's been grimmified. She is a maiden. She has access to all kinds of magic powers. So this means the other maidens could be grimmified. Winter, God forbid, or Raven, or whoever the Summer Maiden is. Raven could have been grimmified before she became the maiden anyway, because she had the ability to turn into a bird. That is magic. Crow, by principle, is also a potential candidate, because he can do the same thing. And of course the silver-eyed people, because the Hound. And RWBY's theory that the Hound is what also happened to Summer. Now, this does beg the question of the differences and overall connection between magic and semblances. We know that there's a connection, we just haven't been given a proper explanation on what. It's, in my mind, probable that magic is just the origin of all of the current powers that be in modern-day Remnant. So, all the magic has become dust, primarily. It has been solidified in the form of dust, potentially because of the moon? I think all of the moon rocks caused the formation of dust. I don't know if that deserves its own theory video, because it's just a base idea, and I haven't looked any further into that. But it's interesting. Magic also seems to be something that is innately tied to one's being, which is why all of Ozpin's incarnations can use magic. So, what else is innately tied to one's being? Aura. Aura is a manifestation of the soul. So magic would have also been tied to that in some way. And thusly semblances. So, my thinking is it has to be a direct form of magic. There is a direct form of magic that someone has to be able to utilize in order for them to be Grimmified. They have to have access to a direct form of magic, not just an indirect form via aura and semblances and dust. No. It has to be direct access to magic. Magic with Salem and Oz, because they came from the time when magic was just usable. The maidens, they all have access to an amount of power granted to the originals by a previous incarnation of Oz. The Bronwyn twins also have magic given to them. And the Silver-Eyed people all have a magic granted by the God of Light, because that's where the Silver Eyes originate from. I don't know how much this counts as a theory, or if it just counts as an observation. It's never been outright confirmed, but it's the only common pattern I've seen thus far in the instances of Grimmification. Salem, magic. Cinder, a maiden, has magic. Silver-Eyed Fox has silver eyes, which is a form of magic. It makes sense to me. Makes sense to me. So, tell me your thoughts, whatever, all that nice algorithm stuff. Subscribe and subscribe 2.0. And I'll see you whenever I decide I want to do another one of these. Whenever that may be. I don't know. We'll see. But, yeah. Until next time, bye-bye!